Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 27th. Go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Go ahead and please establish a quorum.
Alrighty, Councilmember Napier.
Here.
Councilmember Louis Lusso.
Here.
Mayor Sawatsky.
Here.
And Mayor Pro Tem Scafani.
Here.
And noting Christopher Fear appears to be absent.
Do we have an explanation for that?
I have none.
Okay. All right. Moving on to item number 2. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda? Do we need any modifications?
Motion to approve. Second.
Does the public wish to comment on the agenda? Yes, go ahead, Adeline.
I think there's a few people that might be here for item number, let's see, it's the item,
Do you want to come up to the microphone so it's
oh,
recorded?
sure. Yeah, I think some people are here for item number 12, the Blue Lake Bike Park. Maybe that could be moved up. And, I was hoping public comment could come above the financial report because that looks like it could take a while.
Does the
I can promise you the financial report will be short. I'm short an accountant.
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of times they are lengthy.
So just to be clear, Adeline, you want to move item number 13,
Yeah.
Blue Lake Bike Park, up. And you're wishing for public comment, item number 5 to move up to position 4.
Well, yeah, or above 4, yeah. 5 above 4, and then maybe 13 after 5.
So currently this agenda order is, we're following what's in our municipal code, and that's why it's been different than what we're used to. So I think it's appropriate to leave public comment where it is so that we can just get through our consent. Well, not our consent, but some of our reports, and then give people an opportunity to speak. It's just my take on it.
Well, would you consider moving 13 then?
I don't have a problem with that.
That's the Blue Lake Bike Park. You want it under consent?
Sure.
Thank you.
I think I've said this before, but I think when people review this agenda online, they're expecting these items to come forward in the order that they were presented, so that people may delay coming to meetings instead of showing up right away if there's something later on that they would like to partake in.
That's a
That's
good
just my
point.
opinion. I'll let you guys decide.
I think in the future, if we can anticipate something might be of more public interest, trying to put that more forward in the agenda rather at the tail end. I kind of agree with you, John, that if this is the timeline that people are anticipating, they might be acting accordingly.
Does the public wish to comment any further on the agenda before we make a decision? What is the will of the council?
You have a motion and a second currently to approve as is.
Okay, thank you. So, does anyone wish to modify it?
One request was to swap 4 and 5, is that correct?
Yeah, but Elise pointed out that we're following
Okay.
regular order, so it'd be anything consent and below that could be moved, but I understand what you're saying. Somebody may be anticipating this to be a little bit later in the meeting.
Well, why don't we compromise and move it after 9. So we'll go through a couple other items and then do that.
What are we,
Take item
do we
13.
need this motion to fail before we continue negotiating?
Yeah.
Discussing?
Unless Kat wants to adjust her motion and then Michelle to agree to that adjustment.
Or not.
Yeah, I think we'll stay with it is, and I'm not looking to amend the motion at this time for reasons stated.
So we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. All right, so the agenda is as is. All right, item number 3, adopt previous council meeting minutes. Staff, would you like to comment on this or?
We're open to hearing if you have changes. The minutes from the May 13th special meeting are before you. Laura has provided those for you, and if you have any feedback, we're happy to take it. Otherwise, the recommendation is to adopt their minutes.
Does council have any comments for staff?
I think there's a few spots where names could be improved. And happy to get with, I don't know if we should go through it right now or we can look at that and improve some of those names. Like Verta Pitts was mentioned a couple times, but I think her name was spelled incorrectly. Some of the public that you mentioned, some of us know who they are, and so we would spell their names differently.
Wonderful.
So we can help with that. And also at times there's a list at the beginning of public present at a meeting, and I don't know if that's something we want to continue or.
That would be hard unless we had a sign-in sheet. Nobody's compelled to use a sign-in sheet.
True. So, does anyone have a thought about that? Do we want to try to note public present or just mention people's names when they make comment?
I'm not in favor of that unless they, I think it's not necessary. I think people
Okay.
comment.
Okay.
are Relevant, but who's here really isn't.
Okay. That's all I have.
In your opinion? Does the public wish to comment on the meeting minutes? Seeing none? Anyone on Zoom? All right, bring it back to council.
Move to approve with corrections to be given to Laura later regarding name and spelling.
Second. All right, we have a first and a second. Any final comments from the public? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Scott, did you say aye?
Yes.
Great, thank you. It passes. All right, moving on to item number 4, reports of council and staff. Council member reports. Does anyone have anything to report?
I did not attend the HWMA meeting this month. This month. So I have no report.
All right. I have nothing to report, Elise.
Well, we had a Public Safety Commission meeting this month. And we're working on a few little projects. We're working on a safe and sane fireworks campaign. We're looking at doing a survey of H and I streets and survey the residents there about parking and traffic and different measures that we might undertake there. And we're working on getting the sheriff to our meetings or a member of the sheriff's department. That's mostly what I have to report there. I did not go to the RCA meeting this month. It was a budget meeting, very exciting, I'm sure. Kat went in my stead, and I went to an HWMA meeting. It was, I think they broke a record for the shortest meeting ever, and so there wasn't a whole lot to talk about that one either. And there you go.
All right. Does the public wish to comment on any of the reports of council and staff? Or council, excuse me. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 4B, city manager report. City manager Burkhart, do you have anything to report to us?
Just in the briefest of senses that the city business continues on as it should day to day, and the things on your agenda reflect that. So yippee-ki-yay. I will submit a more thorough and written report for your next meeting. I just still getting my legs under me in this transition. So appreciate your patience and support.
Thank you very much. Does the public wish to comment on the city manager report? Seeing none, we'll move back to council. All right, moving on to item 4C, financial report.
So the financial report is lacking. I will meet with our accountant next week and we shall have one for you at your next meeting.
Great, thank you.
I promised it was short.
All right, moving on to item number 5, public comment. The public is invited to present.
We have the, our warrants and disbursements.
Oh,
That's six
Oh,
A.
sorry. Shut me up. Sorry. Carry on.
moving on to item number 5, public comment. The public is invited to present petitions, make announcements, or provide other information to the city council that is relevant to the scope and authority of the city of Blue Lake that is not on the agenda. We'll allow up to 15 minutes for this public comment. I may extend it if there's a lot of comments to be made. I'm going to go ahead and impose a 2-minute timer since we have so many people here tonight who may wish to comment.
I have a comment I'd like to read into the record.
Okay, great.
This is May 27th, 2025, Blue Lake City Council, 111 Greenwood Road, Blue Lake, California, 95525.
Laura, do you have a microphone?
I do not.
You should use this.
Take Chris's, yeah.
Go ahead.
To Blue Lake City Council. We, the undersigned former members of the Blue Lake City Council, hereby submit this letter at once and for all to clarify issues relating to the development of the Blue Lake Bike and Skate Park. As the former council members, we were constructively involved in the development of the bike and skate park project, both from the inception of the concept through the development of where the park is today. As former council members, we work closely with city staff to formulate the concept, dedicate the land, seek funding resources, develop fundraising campaigns, and to ensure that the park went through the necessary regulatory processes to ensure its success. This included review and approval by the Planning Commission and review and approval by the city's risk management advisors. City staff informed council through the manager's reports and project updates of the project's progress. As council members, we regularly checked in on the project and we all participated in the promotion of the project as an economic and recreation investment for the community and the region. As we are no longer council members, we are all participating in the continued progression of the bike and skate park through active involvement in fundraising activities and community advocacy. We are looking forward to participating in the ribbon cutting for this impressive and exciting project and hope that this letter will put to rest any issues and or concerns related to the bike and skate park's development. If the council would like to ask any questions, please feel free to contact any of us. We are proud of the work being done to create a recreation-focused economy for our community and look forward to the city's continued success. Sincerely, Adeline Jones, former mayor, Elizabeth McKay, former council member, Christopher Edgar, former council member, and Angela Decker Stoll, former council member.
Thank you very much. Next comment? Yes, go ahead.
My name is Elisa Rosado. Ali Scafani, John Swatsky, Kat Napier. Pursuant to Section 11020 California Elections Code to the undersigned registered qualified voters of Blue Lake in the state of California, hereby give notice that we are the proponents of a recall petition and that we intend to seek your recall and removal from the office of City Council member in Blue Lake, California. The grounds for the recall are as follows. Through your actions, you have exposed the city of Blue Lake to financial, legal, and operational jeopardy by 1, your inability and your unwillingness to vote for and adopt a housing element as required by law in the state of California and as part of the general plan for the city of Blue Lake. 2, separating the city manager, Amanda Mandy Mager, from her position without justifiable cause and in a meeting that most likely violated the Ralph M. Brown Act. These two acts have placed the city in jeopardy of potential lawsuits from contractors, fines from the state, and lots of local control. By removing Mandy as city manager at such a crucial time, it leaves the city open to dysfunction and an inability to respond to any legal challenges that may arise. For these reasons, we, the citizens of Blue Lake, no longer feel you have our best interest at heart and demand that you vacate your positions either through resignation or recall. Per law, I'm providing each of you with the signed petitions. It also lists the ways in which you can respond to it.
Thank you. Who's next? Yes, Marty.
Marty Granger, I'm just wondering if the council might consider repositioning yourself so that you'd all be facing forward and we could hear you a lot better. And if Chris does come, he could sit on the side because it's hard enough to hear you. And when you're sideways, it's even harder.
Thank you, Marty. Who's next? Yes, Adeline, go ahead.
The last time I spoke to this council at the May 13th special meeting, John Sawatsky stopped me to ask how what I was saying was relevant to the closed session. I was explaining how I took no pleasure in predicting that this new council would fire our wonderful manager, Amanda Mager. It's all relevant to that, John. Then a packed group of citizens were booted out for another closed session. So I opened up my Mad River Union 2 weeks ago to read about the interim city manager, Danny Burkhart. People are asking me, who is he? I guess your name is Danielle, just as Kat's name is actually Catherine. Okay. So at the end of the article, Danny says, Blue Lake has been stagnant. Stagnant? In the 9+ years Mandy Mager was our manager, 8 of those I was proud to be mayor. 2 bridges completed over Powers Creek, the groundbreaking and completion of our portion of the Annie and Mary Rail Trail, the safe route to school Greenwood Avenue project, and the acquisition of the empty lot across from the post office, which is now our beautiful town square. Plus successful businesses like Honeycomb Coffee, the Dog House, and the Maker's Place. Improvements to our skating rink. Is it? One of you gone to our skating rink? You should go there on a Friday, Saturday night. It's amazing. And the hiring of competent people like Tony Quigley in the office and our Park and Rec director, Emily Wood. Unless by stagnant, you mean the last 5 months when 3 of the 5 council persons voted to not adopt our housing element. This council sent our beautiful logo back to the Arts and Heritage and Economic Development Commissions, who had already looked at it and made changes, or the endless special meetings, including one at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning to discuss the budget, which was a total waste of 2 hours.
Thank you, Adeline.
I'm
That
not
was your
done.
2 minutes.
Oh. Too bad. I wanted to show everybody this too.
Who's next? Yes, go ahead.
My name is Tim Daniels. I'm a resident here in Blue Lake. I'm going to keep this short. I would like to see a bike rack installed here at City Hall. There's no bike rack. I will pay for the bike rack and I will donate it to the city. And I will work with Glenn and Mike Foggett to find a good place to put it. So put me down for getting a bike rack here at City Hall.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Who's next? Yes, go ahead, Kit.
My name is Kit Mann. Blue Lake has a remarkable opportunity right now to remove the dangerous and derelict power plant, to open up that land for development, to generate substantial annual revenue contribute to grid stability and reliability, reduce greenhouse emissions in a safe and environmentally benign way. You also have an agreement that you all signed, an exclusive negotiating agreement with Power Transitions to negotiate in good faith. I emphasize that in good faith because it appears that there's not good faith going on. There's not been meeting, there's not been discussion, there's not been anything that has come to the public. So there's an apparent lack of transparency, that famous word. So further, businesses won't wait around forever. If we keep dithering on this, we aren't going to get anywhere. The power transition option agreement needs to be on the next agenda at the latest. And really, the negotiating committee, if there is such a thing, your city manager doesn't know who that might be. Those people need to meet between now and the next meeting so that they can bring something that's actionable to you by next meeting, or you're going to squander this incredible opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public before I move to Zoom? Yes, go ahead.
I just personally want to thank the council. I was at that early morning meeting and I thought it was wonderful, the financial meeting, that you were taking an interest in learning more about the budget. So I appreciated that as a citizen of Blue Lake. I would be in disagreement with the last comment, having our previous city manager write a letter giving Power Transitions the ability to move forward with a with an accelerated timeline when that wasn't what was voted on. And I would urge caution and ask anybody to read that ERN because it definitely wasn't in the best favor of Blue Lake. It had things in it that, makes it hard for the city of Blue Lake to have the power that Power Transitions has. And part of what we're doing moving forward is that we are giving part of the energy that we're going to be using into the future is to support AI and to support all the data that we're storing. And they're saying worldwide, that's going to be about 14% of our usage. So we're being asked to have a power plant that I think we haven't done all the exploration we need to do to see if it is the best fit for the city of Blue Lake. And by, giving Power Transitions that letter, we were saying that they did have site control, and PG&E, in order to move forward with that, had to have a 90% site control, which they do not have at this point. So I really believe that that needs to be looked at. And it's good for the council to take their time and make sure, because prior it was really rushed through. And, just so everybody remembers, the first agreement that came before the council was a 312 megawatt plant, and they almost passed.
Thank you very much. If there's no further comment, I'm going to move up to Zoom. All right, Dennis, go ahead. Dennis, are you there?
Would count.
Dennis, I'll give you one more minute. Becky, you want to go ahead and try? Is our output not right?
Should be.
Hello?
There you go, Becky. Go ahead.
Okay, are you there? Okay. I just want to agree with what, I think that was Rebecca that just spoke about the power plant. I just want to agree with her. And just listen to what she has to say. She is an author of our local history book. And believe me, if somebody knows how to do research, it's definitely her. So that being said, please do that. And it's just sort of funny, we've come up with this with these things that are being said about the council now, and we were doing that for a long time for previous council, and, you know, we're gonna say the same thing that was said to us. Let these guys do their job. They're doing what they have to do. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dennis.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just want to reinforce what Kid said. I think we need to get that dangerous power plant demolished and move on with the city block there. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. All right, if there's no further comment, I'm going to bring it back to council. All right.
Can I make one comment?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
My name's Dana Silvernail, and what I want to say is very simple. You provided the opportunity for us to get fully informed on these issues. It's the first time I've ever heard of them, and it's been wonderful, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right, bringing it back to council. I think we're ready to move on to the next item.
I think you're right.
Moving on to item 6, consent agenda, warrants and disbursements, and employee annual raises. Does anyone want anything pulled?
Yes. I would pull both items.
Okay.
Okay.
Both items are pulled. So moving on to consent agenda, item A.
I'm just curious about check number 12826. It says it's a sales tax audit. I was wondering if you could comment on that.
You said 12826?
12826, yes. On the first page.
There we go.
What was the check number?
12826.
Yeah, that's our auditing firm. They do our sales tax audit, and we pay them money for that.
And so what are they auditing exactly? Are they auditing our sales tax revenue, or they're auditing sales tax we're paying?
Sales tax we're paying, reporting, and receiving.
And receiving.
Yes.
Okay. So do they analyze the different sources of sales tax that are coming into the city?
I honestly am not sure what they are analyzing. I just know that they handle our sales tax audit, and that is it. Something we contract outside professionals to handle.
Okay, thank you.
Any further comments from council? Yes, go ahead.
I did have a question, and that's on page 2 of your report, about the middle of the field. Item 12864. That's US Bancorp Payment Systems. Is that like the city credit card?
Yes.
And is that the only credit card that the city has?
Yes.
And I see here we have $6,361. Would it be possible in the future to have those credit card expenses also itemized out, that we could see that separately?
Not in this report, because it's not, each expense is not entered into MIP. It's done as a spreadsheet that sends in the total amount per category into the GL code it's coded for. So, I mean, I can give you photocopies of the receipts if you want, but there's not like a report I can pull that says these are all the CalCard transactions.
Okay. It would be nice to be able to understand where those thousands of dollars are being spent. And I appreciate, like, I'm not questioning that you paid this bill, but it would be nice for the people and the council to know what that bill is paying for.
Would you like copies of the receipts?
Sure.
Okay, because
That
that's
works, yeah.
literally all I can offer you.
So there's no like monthly statement from that credit card company that would itemize all of the individual charges to that
It
card?
does, but it's about as vague as your own credit card statement. It's not exactly like, you know, something from Texas with a 10-digit number after it. So, I mean, I can provide that too, but usually the receipts are probably what you're going to want to look at. If you go, what is this thing in Texas for $500? You know what I mean? But I'm happy to provide that for you guys. I just need the direction.
Sure. The direction, that would be nice to have both the statement and then the receipts and back that up, please. Thank you.
Any further comments from council? All right, let's open up to the public. Does the public wish to comment on warrants and disbursements? Dennis, is your hand still up for this warrants and disbursements, or is it from before?
Oh, sorry, I've got to turn it off.
Okay, great. All right, let's go ahead and move on to item 6B, employee annual raises. At least you wanted to pull this?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could, if there's any further explanation about the item.
I was told that I needed to bring staff raises to the council for approval, and we generally give annual raises to those who have been with us for a year or more on the anniversary of their hire date, unless they've changed positions and it's on the anniversary of the date they changed their position. This is something that we have traditionally just done, city manager having the purview over staff raises typically. The amount that the raise is one step, and that usually is mostly just accounting for a cost of living adjustment because we don't actually have one of those in our policy.
Okay, great. And so we're seeing this now because you're in the acting city manager position. And so presumably all city staff have been getting the same
Yes.
consideration.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions from council?
So just so that I'm clear, any employee then every year will get a one-step increase until they top out?
Pending their performance review, yes.
Okay.
Any further questions before I take it out to the public? All right, does the public wish to comment on this?
I can comment a little on.
Yes, Glenn, go ahead. Sorry to make you walk up here.
So I've been here 15 years now, and we've only had one actual COLA in the 15 years I've been here. And to actually stay, the raises we get don't actually stay up with the inflation level lately, but it's usually a 4% raise every year, and it depends on their performance. If it's a poor performance, we may not give them step up. If it's an exceptional performance, we may give them 2 steps. And in the case of Chris, he has taken many classes and has received a lot of training in the year he's been here. So I think it's due for a 1-step increase at this time.
Great, thank you.
Has Chris gotten the certification so he can help to?
He has his water certification, I believe, but his wastewater, he still has to be at the city like a year and a half before he's even allowed to receive his wastewater cert. And then he also has to pass the state test. And these state tests, you have to study really hard. And usually the first time people take it, it's like a 50% fail rate on the first time. So it usually takes a couple of times. But we'll see how he does. So,
Great.
okay.
Who pays for the test?
The city does. The city pays for the testing. The city pays for our certifications.
It does the city pay for every test, whether they pass or fail?
Yes, and unless it's unless it's several times. I mean, it's if somebody misses by 2 points or whatever, I mean that's really close and it shows that they've tried. I mean, if they fail by like 30 or 40 points on this test, it means they really didn't put an effort into it. So it also depends on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comment from the public? All right. Thank you. So let's go ahead and bring the items back. 6A and 6B, see if we can get that passed.
I'm fine with that.
Yep.
So,
Motion to approve.
6A, 6B.
Motion and a second. Any further comments from public?
Who was first and who was?
Kat was first, Michelle was second. Any comment from public? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 It passes. All right, moving on to item number 7, website, meeting minutes, and videos. This is a discussion direction item. See, staff, do you have any
So,
comments on this, or
This is Elisa's
and Lisa's
item.
going to leave this one? Okay, great.
as I've shared in the past, I've been working with our webmaster for about 2 years now to try to make some improvements to the website. And I think we've made some, and we have a little ways to go still. But just recently, we've created a YouTube channel for the city so that we can upload all of our meeting videos directly to a YouTube channel and then link that to our website. So we haven't been able to implement that yet because it just happened in the last day and a half. So that's something that is kind of exciting. We're going to be able to link videos straight to the website now. And also, I'm hoping that we can go into our backlog of minutes that have been approved but never published and get those on the website. Going back, our website is structured so that 25, 24, 23, and 22 all have the mechanism to have all those things added to our agenda and minutes page. So I'd like to be able to do that. And I know that right now staff doesn't probably have the amount of time that they need to go through and find all those documents and surface those and catalog them so we can access them. So part of the discussion tonight was perhaps to authorize extra hours for Laura to when she's able to go in and do some of that cataloging, yeah, so that we can get those all up to date. I'm working with the webmaster on the video portion, and I had a conversation today with Access Humboldt so that we can move along on the video portion, but we would need staff access into our computer systems to find all the minutes and and get the adopted versions of those minutes. A lot of times the draft version of those minutes is in a packet sometime after the meeting happened, but we don't have the adopted version of those minutes. So I don't.
Sounds like
So that's just, just something that I'd like to move forward with. That's, going to make more information accessible easily to the public.
Do you have any idea, or maybe Laura or Danny have an idea about the volume and what kind of hours we're looking at increasing her allowance?
I don't really, and we haven't really been able to chat too much about that, but it's,
I believe it's taking, I would estimate 4 to 5 hours to go through, depending on how long the video is, to capture all that,
well,
or less.
what I'm thinking is most of that stuff already exists, and it's just going to be a matter of finding it in our city, computer system.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, that doesn't.
not necessarily recreating it, but finding it and making available a finished adopted copy so that we can get it on the website. And I guess we really wouldn't know what we're going to find until we go looking. So
Right.
yeah.
I was referring to if I had to listen to the video. Okay.
Yeah, that would be a whole nother story. But no, I don't think we're going to try to do that.
Okay.
We'll make those videos, available to the public wherever a video exists. But I don't think we're going to try to recreate minutes unless they're just super recent ones that we just didn't have a chance to get done.
Sounds good.
I think if we're going to go ahead and do all that work, it'd be good to generate hyperlinks to the video to the certain points if we can do that. I'm happy to offer to train staff on how to do that quickly. That way we can make the minutes and the subjects easily accessible to the public. And they can just click on the item they're interested in. It'll take them right to the point of the meeting, and then they can move forward and find what they're looking for easy.
So you mean like when somebody opens an agenda on our website, each agenda item will have a hyperlink that'll take them to this certain part of the
Yes.
video.
Yeah.
Clever. Yeah.
Then is there a specific format that these minutes should be saved in that make them more searchable for ChatGPT or others?
You could do PDFs or something like that, I think would be easy, as long as it's machine readable. You should be able to quickly search and find what you're looking for.
So Elise, do you have a proposal for tonight? Is that something that you want to move on, make a motion for, or you want to wait? You want to assess the project, see, come back?
Well, I don't have, dollar figures. I don't have number of hours to project, but I think if we're in agreement, we could ask Laura to begin to look at what would be involved and come back to us with some sort of a proposal, how long she thinks it's going to take, how easily some of this stuff is accessible and so forth. Because I think we're just kind of at the beginning.
So do you think that we would be ready for a follow-up at the next meeting, the next scheduled meeting?
Scheduled meeting?
Yeah,
A month from
in
now.
a month.
Yes.
So you'll have time to look through and see what you think it's going to require.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, does the public wish to comment on this? Yes, go ahead. Okay.
Right. You guys mentioned that you might have videos from previous, like before I was doing them. If you have them and you upload them to your YouTube channel and put them as either unlisted or private, that will give you the advantage of using the transcript function on YouTube to allow you to do minutes off of them. Just a thought. And then that also gives you the ability to click on a section where you see the words. You click on that and it will take you to that point in the video in which that was being said so you can further understand. So that might help her do her minutes if you actually have those videos. You provide them some way in which she can access them on your YouTube channel. They can even be private, unlisted, whatever. That way they're not made public yet, and then she could use them. So anyway, just trying to help you guys.
Do you mean that function's not available if you make them public?
They will be, but it's up to you whether or not you want to make them public. When you do, I mean, you may want to just, get them and then do your minutes and then make them public. It's up to you whether you want to make them public or not.
Sure.
But whether you make them public or not, if you choose not to, you can still use the transcript feature.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any further comments from the public on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis, go ahead.
Well, I was looking at some of the other videos that we found on the council functions, and I noticed there were some complaints from council members that there was a lot of workload in the process, and I noticed that you guys were going into a lot of detail, that perhaps too much detail. So I was looking for the functions of a city council, a city manager, form of government. And I found some links and I sent it to the city manager today. So maybe with Justin's help, you could put those up on your YouTube site, which would be a good reference guide. This is from California cities, so it's good training material.
Great, thank you, Dave. Thank you. Becky, go ahead.
I'm just want to say there was somebody trying to get it on Zoom, so just in case. Oh, she just got let in. Thank you. And that was it. I'm sorry. Okay.
All right, great. All right, last call for public comment before we bring it back to council. All right, moving back to council.
I did have a question for Danny, and that is, do you have the recordings, the Zoom recordings? So last week we had 2 Zoom recordings.
Yes. I
And
don't know how to get them yet, but I'm gonna figure it out.
so they're in Zoom.
They're in the Zoom cloud
Okay.
somewhere.
All right. Maybe we can get together and try to figure that out.
Yes.
Okay. And also, so I guess there's maybe other videos in the Zoom cloud from older videos.
I don't know how far back it goes.
Okay. And do you have any any, do you have a drawer full of zip drives that have a bunch of other videos on them?
Not that I know of.
Okay,
Not that I have discovered yet.
okay, because we're looking for all the videos that Justin has provided staff between February and now. Everything on Access Humboldt only goes through February, so we have several months that are missing. So I'm hoping we can find those.
Perhaps so we don't burden staff with too much work, maybe can we link off the other ones?
Well, if we link off the other one, then we're linking to a website that we don't have control over. And so that was something that that our attorney advised us not to do previously.
Okay.
So,
Great. All right. Do we need to give staff direction or staff clear on the direction?
Just a quick
Okay, great.
second here. Yes, I have that you're asking Laura to propose how much time this will take to address the backlog of missing minutes on the website. And then we're also going to look for the videos from February to now that are missing from Access Humboldt. Is that correct?
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
One
Yes.
question,
Sure.
it's similar to this as far as posting on the website, pertinent information. Is there a plan to get our resolutions posted on the website, similar to how we already have our ordinances?
I'm not aware of such a plan. We can address that if you would like to have the resolutions posted on the website.
Yeah, I think as you're kind of looking at the general thought of posting to the website, obviously the minutes take priority, but the resolutions would be kind of a good partner with that.
you mean to have a whole separate section that lists all the resolutions?
No, just as we have on our website, you can click on our ordinances, it's searchable, being able to do similar with our resolutions. There's not a way right now to search our resolutions online or to access them
Right.
online.
Okay.
But not trying to tie that into any video thing.
Okay.
Great. All right, moving on to item 8, Town Square loan payoff, discussion action item. Staff, would you like to comment on this one?
Yeah, so this was something I was gonna try to bring in April, but we did not have time for that. Basically, we're paying interest, daily interest on a loan for the purchase of the town square property. We have funds in the generalized CBDG Fund 38 that are available for expenditure. And I just, as a fiscally responsible person, highly recommend paying off anything with a daily interest rate whenever possible. And the only reason to bring it here is that I would need your authorization to expend Fund 38 funds for this payoff. The total amount is provided in your packet. It looks like 10,000, I believe it was. 10,928, and I recommended a not to exceed number in case by the time the check is cut, that daily interest rate adds another day.
Are those funds currently earmarked for anything else?
Nope.
Okay. And what could they be used for?
I mean, currently your fund balance in that fund is about $124,000. You could elect to use that for just about anything that is development related. It is that is part of your discretion on those funds. I don't have any historical knowledge to add to that, but if anybody else in the room was involved in that wants to add. Oh, hold on. Somebody in the waiting room.
So my understanding of these funds, these are the defederalized funds that come back into the program. It's been explained to me that every year when we get money, CBDG funds paid back to the city, if they're under 35,000, those funds get defederalized and the city is able to use those funds for various qualifying projects. If it's above 35,000, then it goes back into the CBDG fund that becomes part of a pool of money that can be used for other projects, such as what we used to have was low interest loans to homeowners for needed home repairs and things like that. So it's my understanding that the city has the option to take these funds and either use them for city projects or, we have the option to use them for homeowner loans and different things. So in the past, I've been in favor of using these monies to try to restart this program that helps homeowners that are unable to afford needed repairs with low interest loans. We do have an opportunity if we want to have the county planning department administer that program for us, where they deal with all the applications and all the rules for the applicants. So previously, years and years ago, I believe the city did all that administration. And it's been quite some time since that program has been offered. And the city doesn't have the staff capability of managing that at this time. But the county of Humboldt does have that. And they administered a similar program for the city of Rio Dell after the earthquake. And they're set up and have staff with the ability to do that. And at any time, we can reach out to them and set that program up and begin that process again. So, so I personally would like these funds to be reserved for programs like that. Because the funds are pretty limited. Anyway,
Are you suggesting we not pay this off right now? Or are you?
I am suggesting that, yes.
Over a 30-day period, what would the interest be paid on this roughly? Is
It's
that-
roughly $1.51 per day.
So $45 a month.
Roughly.
Would we pull it out of a different fund or not?
Well,
really?
we're currently making monthly mortgage payments, are we not?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have this paid off within a year. It looks like to me.
The only reason to do it now is to save on the interest.
Yeah, and we previously paid, I believe it was $24,000 to pay this balance down out of the CBDG fund. And there was apparently a miscalculation of the payoff amount because we were intending to pay it off. But
So what are you proposing we use the funds for then if we're not using them to pay this off?
Like the low interest.
possibly the low interest loans to homeowners and other projects that might have a higher priority than saving interest.
Like qualifying projects that are less than $35,000. Have to meet some specific.
There's a lot of qualifications for the monies. The defederalized monies, I couldn't recite them all accurately, I'm afraid, but there's a list of rules about what you can use the monies for, but they can be used by the city for different projects. These funds funded all of the improvements for the library in the last couple of years. All the handicap accessibility improvements that happened there. And not sure of any other projects specifically that they've paid for recently. So I don't know about that one.
If I might, it also will reduce liability on the books, which is something we look to do at the end of the fiscal year, going into the next fiscal year. We want to reduce as many liabilities on the books as we possibly can, so that when we're going into budget for fiscal year, in the next fiscal year, we have positive valuations, positive assets, and positive contributions towards things like CalPERS and LAIF and those kinds of things. And the best way to make sure we're doing that is to reduce our liabilities. And this is a low-hanging fruit to address.
Any further comments from council before we open up the public? No? All right, does the public wish to comment on this? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Barbara Russell. So I know four of my neighbors who all have historic homes, which can really use those loans. Would really appreciate it. We need them. But I hate for you not to be able to pay off a $10,000 loan because of it. And the money that I would need in some of my other
neighbors need is more for roofs and things like that. And the county can, it's my understanding, when I talked to Kristen at the county, she said that she could help Blue Lake get loans. And so it would be for more money than little, for some substantial. So that's just what I'm, just want to say that there might be other money that you guys can get to help us that really need the money. And it's, $10,000. I just hate for you not to be able to pay that off. Say that.
Thank you, Barbara. Any other go ahead. I'll get you
Just
next time.
wondering, the last time you offered that deal for homeowners to improve, how many homeowners used that option?
I don't have that statistic.
We don't have that information right now, so I can't answer. Yeah, go ahead, Adelaide. Thank you.
Well, okay. CDBG, oh man, I hate acronyms. I went through teaching with them. Community Development Block Grant. What my understanding is the last few times that we've tried to use this money for folks that need it, folks haven't qualified. It's a very low bar to be able to qualify. And so that's why it's been in that rotation for so long, because people in Blue Lake make too much money. But anyway, that's what the statistics show. That's how the funds are used. And when you don't qualify, then you have to look for some other way to pay for your roof or whatever. Anyway, I'm in favor of you paying off the $10,000 loan.
Great, thanks, Adam. Any further public comment? Just go ahead.
Yeah, like a roof's 30 grand for a modern home in Blue Lake. So I would suggest you guys take all your loose ends and pay them whatever you have that's out to pay. Just take care of it.
Great, thank you. Any further public comment? Anyone on Zoom wish to comment on this item? Lori, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I'm sorry I can't be there tonight, but 10,000 is a lot for some people and 10,000 is not a lot for other people. It seems a little disconcerting to say that nobody can qualify for low income in Blue Lake when all we're trying to look to the future is how to help the low income that we have here. I suppose 10,000 is not horrible to spend, but I would hate to set a precedent going forward that we're going to spend 10,000 here, 10,000 there, because it can go pretty fast with some of the projects that we have going on. So I don't really have a definite, you should spend it, you shouldn't spend it, but I think try not to set a precedent that we're going to bail out every project that we've started with these particular funds. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Last call for public comment before I bring it back to council. Yes, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. It's tough, we walk in here, we get a situation and we're asked for comment, but I think I would tend to go more with Elise. I was involved in setting up that program back in the beginning when I was part of the community development, Blue Lake Community Development Corporation. And I think the way that we saw it was we were trying to accomplish the goals, and it did quite a lot for houses, like Adeline said at that time. But we were also very aware that at some point the money would come back and it was be available for other uses. If we're really talking about if you're actually able to pay it off in a year, and the payments and the interest right now is $45, and at the end of the year it's going to be down to nothing. We're talking about a year of $22. I think I would be with Elise. I think we would save it for something that's more valuable. If it's not a problem to pay it off, and the interest rate the interest monies are so small that I would tend to say if we have $124,000, that's not quite a good enough reason to draw down a reserve like that that will be available for other purposes. And if, if there was a business coming into the industrial park that needed money and that it seemed in the city's interest to be able to loan them, then having that reserve money serves us a really valuable purpose. So I would tend to say, yeah, it's the benefit of paying it down isn't quite as good as the benefit of being able to have this future reserve that could be used for development. And it seems like a bunch of times in the past that businesses have approached Blue Lake, they have done things that would be very valuable to us. And that if we had the ability to help them accomplish that, or we had the ability to speed up the process of approving their project, we wouldn't have missed out on opportunities. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
What's I thinking about? Daniel, what fund does our payment currently come on?
The general fund.
The general fund?
Mhm.
What's the payment a month?
It's currently about $2,000 a month.
2,000.
Mhm.
That was 1,200.
We still have public comment.
I might be thinking of the other one that we pay on a monthly basis.
Before we continue, is there any other further public comment? You can continue, Danny, sorry.
No worries.
Can you take that money and invest it in something and have it grow?
No, thanks.
There's restrictions on what we're allowed to do with it. Small business loans are usually not included in CDBG funds. There are strict limits. They're mostly intended for community development, not capitalistic development, unfortunately.
Great. Becky, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to agree with Elise. I just think that paying it off slowly is fine, or, over the next year, and use those funds for something else in case something comes up, because you never know. All right, thank you.
Great, thank you.
So our loan payments are 1236.87.
That's correct.
Let's go ahead and officially bring it back to the council. All right.
Yeah, Danny, thank you for bringing this forward because I think it shows some creativity and awareness of where there is low-hanging fruit. I think from the conversation, the questions both from council and from the public, more information is needed. You've brought up really good points about the perspective of how this looks like, get more liabilities off the book. Let's put ourselves into more positive position when assessed by others. I think it would be worth $45 to have you bring this forward next month with maybe a little more fleshed out information. And by that time, hopefully we will have been working with our budget and we could see how that may or may not fit into that.
Gotcha.
So
Is there a
that's-
specific direction on what kind of information you need?
Just sort of the pros and cons, as we've heard here, some of the opportunities of, whether you can capture some of what's been said already. On the one hand, we hear that there could be benefit to homeowners and whatever else is allowed within the restrictions of those monies. And then the same with the cons in keeping that kind of affects how outside entities will assess us.
I think kind of like a CBDG 101 might be kind of helpful, like, what the different funds, we have an explanation in our budget documents of each different fund and what it means. But we don't have maybe a really great grasp of possibilities of what can happen with CBDG monies. And so getting more of that information kind of distilled down.
I think it'd be really great information for everybody.
Yeah.
So go ahead. I just think we're splitting hairs at this point. I think it's like one doesn't the other. Like I'm just in favor of paying it off and moving on. But if you guys want to bring it forward in the future for further consideration, I guess that's fine.
I'm okay with waiting 1 month to bring it back up to discuss it again with a little bit more information. What you've given is really great. I appreciate it. But I would have to agree. I want to be a little cautious. However, I do see your point. And if the qualifications or the uses are very limited and in scope, and it would be worth it to just go ahead and get rid of that debt, take it off the books, then that would be probably the way that we would want to go. But I would want a little bit more information. Thank you.
So I think we need a motion then to direct staff to bring it back.
Yeah, yep.
I don't know if we need a motion. We're just gonna.
I don't think you need a
No, you don't
motion to
need a
direct
motion?
staff
Okay.
to do a thing
Okay.
to come back.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any last comment from the public? Yes, go ahead.
So I am, it's my understanding that the money that Kristen Martinique from the county rehabilitation program for buildings, that money, that's money that would go through the city. It's not the city's money. So there might be money available for homeowners to get loans, but you guys make the interest. And so she has information that could be helpful.
What is her name?
Kristen Martinique.
Thank you.
Which department? is she in?
Rehabilitation, like housing.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, moving on to item number 9, CAL FIRE Local Response Area Fire Severity Zone Ordinance, second reading by title only and consideration of adoption. City staff, would you like to comment on this?
You were previously presented this at the April meeting. It was introduced by first reading as ordinance number 545-2025. And in order to proceed with this adoption process, we're bringing it back for the second reading by title only. This is something that happens regularly where the fire marshal for the state updates our fire severity maps and then asks us to pass an ordinance that adopts them, basically. And that is what our function here today is.
All right, great, thank you.
And did we get that? That's on the website, right? That's on the main page?
It should be.
I think it was
Thank you.
on there.
Does the council wish to discuss it? The
Pretty
public,
straightforward.
does the public wish to comment on it? Anyone? All right, anyone on Zoom? Last call. All right, bringing it back to council for consideration and adoption.
I would move that we adopt ordinance number 545-2025. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Blue Lake adopting the State of California Fire Hazard Severity Zone Map designating moderate and high fire severity fire hazard areas in the City of Blue Lake.
Second.
We have a first and a second.
Are we literally required to read this whole thing out loud?
No, by title only.
All right. And any further public comment? Hearing none. Bringing it back.
Can I just,
Yeah.
can someone just do a brief explanation of what that means? Having a sign out there with a needle high fire or low fire or
It's
an
actually-
announcement or what is?
It's actually just a map, and it
Right.
says that we accept the map that CAL FIRE drew. It's
Okay. Gotcha.
we accept that
Thank
they
you.
drew a map. That's yeah, literally it.
They updated the fire hazard severity zones for this area. And so you can see it, I'm pretty sure it's on our webpage, and you can see where some of the area got moved into or got.
So that'll be good to take to your safety meeting. Yes.
All right, so we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. All right, moving on to item number 10, HTA contract renewal. This is an action item. Staff, would you comment on this one?
This is a annual renewal for our bus service contract, providing the 2 stops in the City of Blue Lake, and we pay about $15,000 annually as our cost share for that service.
You said 15,000.
Yes. I believe that's what it was. Sorry, I'm having
Just
the
It
word
says
brain.
15,600.
Okay. Thank
This is one time.
Mhm. We annually renew these.
Oh,
And
annually, I see.
I was instructed to
15,000.
bring all contracts before council.
Authority.
Yes.
I know. Yeah, you know, we need.
Does council have any questions for?
I believe we have a a grant that we get each year that I think is close to $30,000 for transit. So we might have some leftover monies after we pay this. But I don't know. I mean, I know there's been some conversation about different services and other than the bus that we currently have, it's kind of limited, not kind of, very limited. But
Barring any other options currently on the table, I recommend that you adopt this. Otherwise, you'll have people without bus service probably really angry at you.
It's gonna be crowded. Right, so, I mean.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah,
Michelle.
that's fine. I was just curious. Are you saying that there is a grant currently that is open that will pay this
yes,
amount?
yes, we get monies, we get some revenue. There is a revenue stream. I don't recall the exact name of that fund, but yes.
Well, I know that HTA is really making some changes, doing a really great job of updating their service lines and making it really affordable and accessible for a lot of people. I'm impressed with what they've been doing from Delmore all the way down to. Yeah, it's amazing.
And are you learning about that through HCOG?
No, through another program.
Okay. Just recently, somebody asked me if we had a representative to HTA. I was like, no, we don't. But I know they talk about transit in HCOG a bunch.
HTA reports out every to HCOG.
Okay.
Any further questions for staff? Open up to the public for comment. Anyone wish to comment on this item? Yes, go ahead, Adeline.
Yeah, so when you go to your Humboldt County Association of Government meetings, there is a representative from the Humboldt Transit Authority that's there all the time. And this money comes through the Humboldt County Association of Governments. And I think it's more like 34,000 total. So there is, if it's only costing 15,000 for Humboldt Transit Authority, there is money left over. I just want to bring the idea of a dial-a-ride program for seniors in the town. I don't know how much it costs, but it's something to think about because there's people that do need to get around and they can't navigate with the bus system.
Great, thank you.
Where can we find out information about what you just said? Perhaps the senior center,
Yeah, but Dial-A-Ride doesn't come out to Blue Lake. You know, so.
Any further public
I'm
comments?
suggesting something here, you know.
Yeah, we do have some limitations, and I think that we've done there's been some assessments on what the usage desire would be out here. That would be nice to. Yeah, all about for HTA for sure, but looking at some other options as well.
Any further public comment on this item? Anyone on Zoom? Seeing none, bring it back to council for consideration.
I would move that we renew our HTA Humboldt Transit Authority contract for the year of 25-26.
We have a first and a second. Any further public comment? Seeing none, bring it back for final vote. All those in favor of passing the HTA contract?
Aye.
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 It passes. All right, moving on to item number 11, fiscal year 2025-2026 budget update. This is a discussion item.
Well, I was hoping to have more of an update for you, but the update is that Scott's not going to be here till next week, and we will have more information for you forthcoming. But I did get a hold of the template for the Rio Del budget you guys liked, so there's that.
Great.
And the Trinidad one, actually, the Trinidad and the Fortuna ones were really spot on.
Yeah, I
Trinidad-
requested their files as well, but the local cities have been really willing to help, so I've been really grateful for their support.
Great. Thank you.
Did you have an opportunity to speak with Gabriel? He's the city clerk in the city of Trinidad. He's actually the one who puts the budget together.
I have not yet.
All right, any comment from the public on this item? Doesn't seem much to talk about, but open it up to you guys. Seeing no one on Zoom. All right, this was just a discussion item. No action is needed. Does the council wish to discuss this any further before we move on?
Or provide additional direction if you feel the need.
Are you anticipating next month?
Yes, I mean, next month is in a week, so.
Well, I mean, I meant the next monthly
We will
meeting.
definitely, if we can get a
Well, we're gonna
special
have to have
meeting
a
ahead
special
of
meeting.
that,
You're right.
we're gonna
You're
have
right.
to do that, so you have time to
Okay.
adequately
than-
review what's up before you get to your adoptions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was hoping we could use this opportunity to go ahead and establish some timelines or some dates that we could do, whether we're looking at it by, the overall budget or reviewing the last year's budget or looking at it by department. But, we're due at the end of June, and I think the 27th maybe is our last special meeting. Or our
That's your last regular meeting to
Correct.
adopt the budget, yes.
So I'm thinking, I mean, we're pretty far behind in developing a budget. Would it be possible that we could set up maybe 2 meetings now so that we can begin to prepare?
I can send you guys a doodle poll. That would kind of probably help rather than taking public time to try and decide on a calendar. And then we can post the decided meetings, but I'll send you guys a doodle poll for your availability. And then that way I make sure I get the max number of you at the table as possible.
And since finance is really in your wheelhouse, would you be able to kind of break down some suggested segments that we might want to address within those? So rather than just saying, okay, we're all available on Wednesday to talk budget, let's talk budget, but let's get kind of a focused approach as we go through on these timelines. Could you maybe sketch something out for us?
Yeah, I'd be happy to provide you with an idea of that. There are really probably 4 funds you want to be focused on, and I can give you guys a little brief on that. If I were to comment on something that's particularly of concern right now, it is how much we're spending on professional services. We've kind of exceeded that budget for this year. So it's something we'll want to be taking a look at for next year.
Great. Thank you. Alrighty. Any further comments? Moving on to item number 12, response to the HCD letter. So this is a direction item. Is Gary available for this? Is Gary coming? for
Gary's
this one?
on the Zoom.
Okay. Was he commenting on this one or?
Gary, are you with us? Would you like to comment?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
We can. Gary, thank you.
Yeah. Sure. I can just give a brief little synopsis on what was provided to you in your packet.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So, as requested by the council, I put together a draft response to HCD's letter of inquiry. And essentially what you find in this draft response letter is a table, that's really the most important part, which outlines the tasks that need to be completed to achieve compliance with state housing law. And then I also added the various steps that could be completed by the council to get there. And then we have a column for timeline. And for one of the items, it's something that would just be completed by staff. It's the electronic sites inventory. I took the liberty of just throwing a timeline in there at the end of June. So note that. And then otherwise, we're looking for direction from the council on the target completion dates for the other 2 items. One of those is adoption and submittal of the 6th cycle housing element update to HCD. So we'd be looking for a target completion date on that. And then also the second one is completing the plan building by implementing housing element program HI-14 or the rezoning and by right procedures. And again, we'd be looking for a target completion date on that. So those target completion dates are the 2 items we need direction on. And once we receive that, we'd be able to submit the letter or response to HCD. And essentially the response would come from the acting city manager, Danny, and the city planner and myself would be listed as the contact for them to reach out to for any additional information.
Great, thank you, Gary. Amy, do you have any further comment on this?
I hope we have a direction.
Great. Does council wants to discuss this item?
Yes.
Great.
So, hi, Gary. Thanks for being here. When we had spoken about the HCD letter before, we had thrown out some timelines for different activities. And I know that had expressed concern about the negative declaration, the CEQA process, where we are with those. And I think that you had a timeline for the staff to prepare that CEQA initial study to begin with. But then I had requested a timeline for if we were to look at this with cumulative effects. And I'm not seeing any dates right now in here, and I think some you had mentioned like a 3 to 6 month window. Can you provide a little more information on that?
Yeah, I mean, I had provided a recommendation, but I assume that was communicated to you by the city attorney, at least in regards to target completion dates. But obviously, we want to hear what the council has to say with regards to your preference on that. As far as CEQA, the CEQA negative declaration has already been completed and circulated for public review. If there was interest in revising it and adding what is defined as significant new information under CEQA, that's something that potentially could be done in regards to, say, cumulative impacts or that type of thing. Understand that the end of the initial study negative declaration does include a question regarding cumulative impacts, and there is a discussion. So I would encourage you to review that. If the council determines they would like that to be more substantial and beefed up, that is one of the items that I identified as something the council could potentially do in the steps I outlined. I know in there that the target timeline considers the potential for recirculation of the secret negative declaration due to significant new information being incorporated in the document.
I'm sorry, Gary.
Could
Can
be
you turn the volume up at all, if it's possible? I'm sorry, it's been difficult to hear, Gary.
All right, Gary, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you catch any of that or?
Most of kind of, yes. You can backtrack a little bit if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
So as far as cumulative impact discussion, the current CEQA initial study negative declaration that has been circulated already and is ready for adoption does include a cumulative impact discussion at the end of the document under the mandatory findings of significance. What I wrote into the steps for completion of adoption housing element includes the possibility that the council would like that cumulative impact discussion to be more robust, which could lead to a recirculation of the CEQA negative declaration for another 30-day comment period. So I've written that step in there. If that's something that the council so desires to do. So when thinking about the timeline, understand that that possibility is incorporated into there as one of the steps that would need to be completed.
Great. And if we were to expand that to include, and it looks like a lot of the information is just reflective of proposed development north of Taylor Way, but not necessarily on the south side of Taylor Way. And I'm seeing that also.
What are you speaking of specifically?
Is if we're to back up and say we want, there's a lot of proposed development on Taylor Way and on London Way. A lot of really great plans. But as we've looked at them to this date, it doesn't seem as if we've looked at the full picture to include the effects of not just, the housing unit or a couple of other work-live scenarios, but then we have a whole sports recreation center, an RV park, best battery storage, amphitheater, bike park. And I guess my question or my concern is that we look at those effects as a whole rather than, segmented and saying each one kind of is okay. But looking at those impacts, whether we're looking at it from a CEQA point of view or we're looking at it from a circulation element point of view.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. There's kind of two concepts there that I'd like to touch on. One is kind of the analysis you're talking about is the type of cumulative impact analysis you would do when doing a full environmental impact report for a general plan update. We're looking at all potential future development in the community that could happen under all these zoning or any proposed changes to zoning. And I would note that typically that would be beyond the scope of a housing element update. The second item I would note is there is a concept when develop a list of projects to consider for cumulative impact analysis, a concept, referred to as what is reasonably foreseeable. So much of the stuff that you mentioned, the sports complex, the RV park, those are really concepts. In order to be considered reasonably foreseeable, the projects have to go a number of additional steps forward to actually be considered reasonably foreseeable. For example, have funds been expended for the project to actually happen? Does the developer applicant have financing? Have they applied for permits? There's a whole number of steps. Is the zoning appropriate? And if you can't say yes to most of those things, then it may not be a reasonably foreseeable project. It would be appropriate to consider a cumulative impact analysis for a housing element update. Because really, I mean, mostly what the housing element's looking at is planning for 34 units on the vacant sites identified in the site inventory. Bringing all that other information in there again is more on par with what you would do with a general plan environmental impact report that's looking at all future development community versus the narrow scope of the housing element update. So when forming that list, if we were to redo the cumulative impact analysis, we will have to go through the exercise of determining what is reasonably foreseeable. And many of those projects, which have been mentioned, discussed, but never really moving forward in any meaningful manner, they may not make the cut as far as the list of what's reasonably foreseeable.
Any further comments from council? Questions?
Well, part of what I've seen on the traffic study, and this is what's online, it also didn't take into consideration a lot of activities that are already there. And so I guess when I look at the broad view, and this is something I would say to the public, asking a question about a housing element or asking a question about affordable housing doesn't mean that you're against it. And for me, this is about due diligence. And if there is an opportunity for us to see how these sites are developed and where our housing goes and how it might impact our environment now and in the future, to me, now is the time to ask those questions. Now is the time to have more scrutiny rather than after the fact and have to live with regret. So to me, that's a necessary process as we look at the housing element. And, whether we accept what is here now, or we say that as a council, we want to look at this further in greater detail, that doesn't mean that someone is against affordable housing. For me, that means I still have questions. I'm still working to understand this. There's Gary's head has been in this for years now. And there's only so much information I can take in, whether I'm reading it, researching it, listening to it. But for me to be able to make a decision, I still feel like there is more information, more questions to be asked, and answers to be provided to the people.
Any further questions from council, staff, before we open up to the public? I'm going to go ahead and open up the public for comment. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes each on this item. Yes, go ahead, Adeline.
Well, I'm very concerned about this issue. I mean, we're looking at some very stiff fines from the state of California. When the state tells you to do something, you need to do it. This council needs to adopt the housing element. Now, in hindsight, I wish that we had done it previously, but we are where we are now. We need affordable housing in this city. Staff has told you that we have the sewer and water capacity, so there's no problem there. The school is in need of children, it's shrinking. I don't want to live in a retirement community. If I wanted to live there, I'd buy a trailer in Ocean West. I like families, I like young people, and they can't afford to live in Blue Lake. We have 4 firefighters living in our fire department right now. We could have more firefighters for our town, but they can't find any place to live here. So affordable housing, again, this is not transitional housing. Let's call it what it is, affordable housing. It can be a first-year teacher, it can be a firefighter, it can be a staff person at in our office. We need it here desperately. So I wish you would move on it. And as I said, in hindsight, I wish I had moved on it.
Thank you, Adeline. Yes, go ahead.
My name is Linda Cooley. I just want to tag on to that. My daughter goes to Blue Lake Elementary, and all of their budgets just got cut, and they don't even have money for the janitor. So the kids are cleaning. So there's no money there. So if they got more kids, I'd be terrified to see what that looks like. And so when we're thinking about this, and we're adding more kids, we need to work with the school and help them get more money. So
Thank you. Further public comment? Yes, go ahead in the back.
I agree with the comment that because you ask questions doesn't mean you're not for affordable housing. And it looks like when I read through it, probably a first-year teacher or firefighter wouldn't necessarily qualify for the one that's being built here. That's when you look at how many of them would need to be at the very low income, which is beautiful and it's fine. My big concern goes back to what I've said before, and it's where we're putting it. And if we are putting it down right across the street from an industrial park, and there's an industrial usage down there, we can say there's no possibility of a flood being down there or water, but the flood maps show different than that. They would be flanked by the creek and by the river and across the street from battery storage facility and the other industrial uses that are there. And I just think, to me, that's like I don't know, it's like a social injustice. Let's put it in a place where, I mean, we're questioning some of the pollution that's down there on those sites. And I just think it's really a shame that we aren't giving consideration to where it could be in a place that's not just there. So thank you.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, everyone, we're talking about that housing element letter right now, not necessarily your projects. But go ahead and come on forward.
Hello, my name is Lisa Hoover. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to be here, and I did send the council members a letter that I wrote into the city clerk today. So I'd just like to acknowledge that Councilperson Napier, I agree with what she is saying, and again, like others, let me start by saying that I recognize the need for affordable housing. It is the accountability to meet the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, which includes analysis of environmental effects of the project, including cumulative effects, which was brought up earlier, that has not been well substantiated. And within the letter to the HCT that is in the meeting packet, it lists tasks that are needed and steps to address those tasks. And I think, Gary, you brought that up. Relative to one of the task lists, it says adopt and submit six cycle housing element update to HCD. And the steps mean, one of the steps, City Council schedules public hearings to review the draft housing element update and CEQA negative declaration and obtain public comment. I've heard that you've done this before, but things have moved on, the documents have changed, and I'd like to see if there could be something updated. So that's one of the steps that's identified, and I appreciate that that was in there. City Council provides direction to city staff to make any necessary revisions to the CEQA negative deck to address any substantive changes made to the housing element update and to address public input regarding the deficiencies in the environmental setting and analysis. So those were two items that were actually in the packet that was provided for the meeting and the letter that Gary had written. And so to date, I have not been able to find documents, current documents. I reviewed a document in October of 2022 that said that there were some environmental effects on page 57. I can't find that document anymore online. So to be able to find the negative declaration, to find the categorical exemptions and the basis for it, because the assignment of categorical exemptions and the Public Resource Code, I'll stop very quickly. The Public Resources Code 21159.24 states there are exceptions to the use of categorical exemptions that include cumulative impacts of developments, potential hazardous waste, consistency with the general plan.
Thank you.
Which the circulation always brought up. Thank you. And again, step one, some of the steps in that plan, Gary, I think are perfect.
Any further public comment? Yes, go ahead.
I appreciate the council taking a better look at things because you have one chance to do this right. And there's, I don't know if first time home buyer, co-housing would satisfy that element. But if it would, there's a lot of benefits to owner occupied units. So I'll leave it at that.
Great, thank you. Further comment? Becky, go ahead.
Okay, hello. I just want you guys to get the date set, get your letter done, and do what you have to do to get things rolling. But when you do, remember what the arena allocation is. It's only for 34 units. And so go with that. And just really do your research. If you need to go a little bit longer, I mean, you know, you need to take your time. You need to know what you're doing. And Kat, do what you got to do, because I think you have some great questions and good points. Always listen to Lisa. Lisa is wonderful, and she always has some good things to say. So just, you know, do what you guys have to do and get the stuff going as fast as you can. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Lori, go ahead.
So it's very complicated, and I appreciate the time you're taking to look through all of this. I know Gary's been through it over and over and over again, and must be pretty frustrated with all of us asking a lot of questions. But there is a huge value into the questions that are being asked. And I think the housing element is more than just affordable housing construction on Taylor Way. And so, you know, cumulatively, I think looking at what's going on Taylor Way is important because it even though we don't have developers for fast in set definitely yet, or I you know, it's still a full project. And so I think that having affordable housing is necessary. I think the location is horrible. And you know, I think we need to look at who will qualify. Our firefighters may not be low enough income to live there, but you know, we need to look at everything. And you know, I know it must be very frustrating, Gary, to have people not agree moving forward. I know it's important to get this housing element so we don't have potential fines to pay, but I think that that we need to look at this whole area, Taylor Way, as a whole, and make sure it's the right place to put low income housing. We need to be closer to school. We need to be closer to bus. We need to really make sure it's the right place. And I think for time.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Seeing none, bringing it back to council.
I appreciate all of your work, Gary. I would like to commend you on the detail and the work that you put into all of this. We have a request by HCD to respond with a revised timeline for achieving the compliance with the state housing law. And I would like to propose a timeline in addition to the tasks that you've already identified for the end of June for preparing and submitting an electronic sites inventory to HCD. For item number 2, adopt and submit the 6th cycle housing element update to HCD. I'd like to propose a target completion date of November 30th, 2025. And that we will be able to, this will put us on task. It'll keep us motivated and inspired and provide incentive for us to get our homework done, get these questions answered, and move forward with it, providing the information that we need in order to do that. And then item number 3, complete the required rezoning by implementing housing element program HI 14, the rezoning by right procedures. I would like to propose a target completion date of December 31st, 2025. That's my proposal.
Is it a motion or is it a proposal?
That's however you want to take it. I'm sure that it's going to be the end of the discussion.
All right. Do we have any other input from council on dates? Do we want to?
I was thinking about the end of December for the adoption piece and something a little further out for the HI 14. I don't know.
Any reason?
Well, I agree with Michelle that, giving us, a deadline, is going to make us do our homework. But I think there's nothing wrong with November, but December just gives us a little bit of cushion.
I just look at the dates between November 30th and December 31st is like a day.
Yeah.
There's no time in there. I mean, it's just gone.
Yeah.
Time wise, work wise, no one's available. It's the same.
Well, I want to err on the side of caution, and I do not want the city to be in the position where we say, oops, this took more time than we thought it would. If whatever timelines that we provide to them, we're married to, we're not getting divorced. So I'm more cautious in that. I would think for the adoption, I would be looking for February, and for the H114, I would be looking more like April or May. That gives, because there are holidays, because we're so far behind on budget, we have there's a great deal that we still have a lot to do. And in between this, as a council, we might actually want to work on policy. So policy beyond the housing element. So this affords those kind of timelines. We can meet it sooner. We can still make that a goal, but whatever we promise to the state, we better be able to meet it. No ifs, ands, or buts. So that's why, I am of the mind to go with a much more cautious timeline that affords the opportunity that if we do need to go further into these cumulative effects, we can. If we do find that, there are questions in the geotechnical study that, maybe we take that out, for peer review. And there are a lot of other processes that at this point, I don't even think, doing our homework is certainly part of it. But some of this, frankly, exceeds our expertise and our ability to research our way out of it and to come to a really solid conclusion. And so what we have to digest now is the same meal that we've had in front of us month after month and almost year after year. And what I'm saying is that we get a timeline with more padding. We still work to meet a closer deadline, but it's not realistic. We're not building in opportunities for us to answer other questions. So, I'm still thinking more like February, March, April timeline. If we could do it before, great. I don't want to ask them twice.
Oh, it looks like somebody wants in. I'm not confident that we're married to, I think that us doing our due diligence, submitting this to HCD, making sure that we stay on task, and given the beauty that Gary has outlined for us right here, we have our assignments, the tasks at hand. I don't want to go any further. I just feel like that just gives us too much wiggle room to put off, and more stuff will be coming up. I really strongly feel the same with the November and then the December. Those are how I feel I want to get it done. This will help motivate.
And if there is to be peer review, that still would require, putting together a bid proposal that then could be put out to bid. So, those are the front end of the timeline, and then the activity itself, and then the time for us to be able to reincorporate that, have it go with the planning commission, public comment throughout that. And I don't know between now and the end of June, it should be budget, whatever it takes to get that through. That's a hard and fast timeline.
I guess we can submit it and see what they say, but I feel like we need to act.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, go ahead, Annie.
While I love that we want to be thorough and do our research, We also need to remember that we pay subject matter experts to be that, and that you do not have thousands of hours to dedicate to becoming subject matter experts in every single policy that comes before you for consideration. I think it's important that we prioritize our time in an effective and efficient manner and rely on the people we pay to be our subject matter experts for that opinion. Now, that's not to say you can't have second opinions, ask questions, that kind of a thing, but your conversation about the budget will become moot if we are fined into oblivion.
Great.
Could I add one item?
Yeah, Gary, go ahead.
Yeah, so under adopt and submit six cycle housing element update to HCD, I realized that I didn't add one step that you guys may want to take, which has been previously mentioned. A joint meeting between the city council and planning commission so you can discuss their recommendation to the council. And so I would request that I be able to add that as maybe the second item under steps for that one.
I guess I just assumed that that was an understood plan.
Yeah, I think it's really good if we're going to have a timeline that goes out a ways, that we really detail what we expect to be done during that time. So that's why I would suggest adding that explicitly after the first step is listed under adoption.
Would you add that, please, Gary? Thank you. Becky. So what is the council, what's the council's wish? Do we want to try and add the letter
We
to
don't.
February, or do you want to try and hit for December?
I think
Aim for
December, and then HI 14 to February. That's about all the padding I feel like we need.
How do you feel about that?
So what's up is November, December, and then December to February, and then February to April. Those are the the proposals, the opinions. What's your where are you at, John?
I'm happy with in between both plans. I think both plans are solid, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I mean, again, I think February probably is too long, but I also want to be cautious on it, and but I think that, December, I think we all are agreeing on December.
For the first one?
I think that was for the last one, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that was my idea.
December
I
1st.
think that what Elise is saying, December 4th, housing element, and then February
For HI 14.
The HI 14.
Because Gary, didn't you say it was going to take us 6 months just to process the HI 14?
That was my estimate, yeah, with the whole process that would have to occur, including CEQA, yeah.
Okay. So that just gives us time for the process and a little bit of extra wiggle room.
Okay. All right. Again, November, December, it doesn't make any difference to me. And then February would be the latest I would go for the second one.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we choose for adoption and submit the 6th cycle housing element update to HCD. Our target completion date would be December 31st, 2025. And for complete required rezone by implementing housing element program HI 14, our target of completion date would be February 28th, 2026.
We have a first promotion.
I'll second that. All right, bring it out.
Can you go ahead and open up for public comment? Lori, is your hand up on this again, or is that?
No, it is. So I guess my question is a general question to the public. Does this mean that the harassment of trying to fulfill the housing element will be tampered for a while? That's just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for a vote.
I'd just like to ask Gary to comment on our timeline that we've proposed.
My question was to the general public.
Laura.
Hi, Lori.
Still here.
Gary, go ahead.
What was the question specifically, or what were you requesting?
We just wanted your feedback on our proposed timeline with our motion. For the
A special opinion on that timeline.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I think we may get some pushback from HCD.
Great.
On which one? Both?
Potentially both, but anything going into next year.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we have a first and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
All right.
So, and if we do get pushback, you'll bring that back and we'll be discussing that again, correct?
Or Danny, yeah.
Of course, of course.
Good.
Okay.
We'll know about it this time.
Back to the
Thank you.
table, Bob.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to item number 13, the Blue Lake Bike Park discussion. All right. City staff, would you like to comment on this one? Or just like a self-driven thing?
I didn't ask for this. A member of the public asked for this to be agendized, and this was last discussed at your April regular meeting. There's
Alright.
been no further action since then that I'm aware of.
Have we found out if we have an MOU with RCMBA of any
We
sort?
don't, they're
any
a
kind?
volunteer fundraising partner.
Okay. And no grant funding has come in to help facilitate?
Not in the last 30 days.
Okay. Does council wish to discuss the bike park?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
How much do we owe on the bike park before completion? Does anybody?
Do we have any solid
I
numbers?
honestly don't know.
Okay.
And on the no grant funding in the last 30 days, has there been grant funding? Any grant funding today?
Whatever was told to you in your April 22nd, 2025 meeting, that's the info you have. That's what I have. I have the same thing you have.
Great.
Do we have a project outline for things that need to be completed before it's safe?
As far as I understand, signage, a fence, and completion of the outer rim that makes the traffic on the pump track directional.
And the latest estimates from RCMBA are $300,000 to complete or for total project?
I wasn't clear if that was what was left to complete or what the total project cost was. I'm still unclear.
Okay. And this is a city project, is that correct?
This is a city project with outside help.
Okay. But with no MOU, just for clarification. All right.
So no MOU on fundraising, specific to fundraising.
No.
No written policy on the accounting of the funds received.
I mean, it goes through our general accounting policies. We don't
Right.
make special policies for this kind of thing.
What I mean is, if the outside organization is fundraising, if there's cash donations, how would those be accounted for? Is there any kind of
They're a
arrangement
nonprofit,
agreement?
and that's on them. And we receive donations from the nonprofit.
So are the,
Whatever fundraising they do is their purview. I have no control over that whatsoever.
and I'm sorry to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
Are the estimates of opening in 2 weeks still valid? Because I've heard from contractors that that's not true.
I didn't think we were trying to open in 2 weeks, but that's news to me. I don't know. I thought we were just trying to have a showing of a film.
I think we have, we had some public comment submitted on this. Maybe there's more information, more questions.
Does the public wish to comment on the bike park? Yeah, that's where it's going. Would anybody like to comment on the bike park, please?
All right, I'll comment about the bike
Sure.
park.
Well, you received a letter which Laura McClanahan read at the beginning, signed by myself and the other council members at the time. And this bike park is going to be a real draw for our town. It's going to be something that is going to be an absolute jewel. The few times that we've had some events out at the industrial park with the mountain biking community, they are good neighbors. I mean, this last September, there was a huge group of people out there camping and recreating, and most of the town didn't know it was even happening because it was great. And they left the place immaculate. They didn't leave any trash or anything. And they brought business into the town, including eating at the Mad River Grange breakfast. It happened to be that weekend. So anyway, it's a unique partnership between a city and a group of people that are very committed to what they're doing. They're very excited about mountain biking. They recreate up out in the hills. They've got the key to the old Simpson Road up there. And the group is really dedicated to making this happen. And I think we really need to get behind it. I know we did in the past. The council was very supportive of it, working with them and their fundraising activities. So I'm very much in favor of this bike park.
Great.
Ingrid Kozik. I'm totally in support of the bike park. My house, Kevin Fisher and I, we like to volunteer and work on that. It's going to bring so much to Blue Lake, so much opportunity. The kids are going to be off having so much fun. The adults in this community are too. It's not just for bringing people in, but it's for the people here. And it's going to bring economy, definitely. And I want to see it happen. And it's so close to being done. You can't give up on it. It's really important.
Thank you.
And you saw the movie.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
I also agree the bike park is amazing. And I also think that there's a lot of confusion. There are people that have worked hard on it. Kevin Fisher, I can attest,
Yes.
lives and breathes for this, and I support whatever he supports. But I think that there's confusion on who's running it. And my suggestion would be to form some type of committee to oversee this so there is no confusion, because I don't think anyone here doesn't want it either. But there seems to be no details available that our current city manager has, and that seems like a communication issue. And I would hope council can do something to put the communication and details together so we can move forward and all help and raise money and finish the bike park.
Great, thank you. Any further public comment?
I definitely agree with everything they said. I think it's really the beginning of something really great for Blue Lake. And so maybe like you have arts and heritage and different, maybe there could be a group formed for that. And also for if we start having music events, who's going to run that? And so it's an economic, could be like this economic engine where people come in and they leave. So we can have our quiet, I don't know. I just think I think maybe another kind of group could form to kind of help oversee it, because I think it could be a really great economic engine for Blue Lake.
Great, thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to comment? Yes, Brian, go ahead.
I guess it's a bike park cell, right? So yeah, I got the scars to prove it that I rode up in those mountains and my boys, we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the mountain bike community. I think it's a great idea. We've had 240 riders registered last year for the adult enduro, and then the youth enduro will be this month or June. So maybe adding exposure to the community, knowing like what's really going on up there and here, and the camping. I mean, man, they let us camp for free. Even during COVID, we had kind of like a secret enduro for the high schoolers that happened. So we've been put a lot of heart into it. So I'm not sure how to go forward with it. If you guys need any help, I'm here to offer. There's only 2 people that live in Blue Lake, maybe 3 or 4 really, that can really get behind this and help out. So if you need anybody from the community.
Great.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Justin, go ahead.
So full disclosure, I've donated both money and a lot of time. I was about the first one, or at least in the first 5 or 6 there every morning, and I was among the last 5 or 6 to leave every night during the time of the paving. And I really hope to see this advance. I would love to see someone bring a member of the RCMBA into like a Parks and Rec, because this is going to fall under Parks and Recreation. Maybe bring them into a commission. Maybe they can make some kind of presentation about, where they are with the money, something like that. That way the public can see where we are and where we need to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
I too am in really favor of the bike park. I think it's a great idea. I think one of the issues is, even as a community member, if I go on the website, and I did attend the meeting for the RCMBA, and it seemed like there was some concern over money when I was at that meeting and having the funds to be able to make this go. And it also seemed that they were talking about the drawing that's on the website not reflecting what the park is. So there's a real disconnect between those two things, and that drawing's been on the website since the beginning. So I think as a public member, community member, just a clarity, if we ask questions about and even long before, if there were questions about money, finances, where donations were made, that should be easily accessible, and should have been even when the prior questions were happening. So that would be my concern, that we would know what it looked like, because if we're also doing a skate park, how does that fit in? It looks like the bike park's extended beyond that original map, which is whatever it is, but I don't see anywhere where that was approved. Or so I'm not advocating that this doesn't happen. I just feel like there needed to be more clarity along the way so we could all understand it. Thank you.
Becky, go ahead.
Okay, so can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, so I've been going through a lot of the minutes and the managers' reports on the bike park. And I know that in September of 2020, the council had told you guys to proceed with the project, but to bring it back for approval. And again, I've been looking for that approval for the park. I'm not against it. I can't wait till it's done. I think it's totally an amazing thing. But still, I cannot find the actual approval by council. I've been through every single minute for 3 years. There's none. And it's only been brought up several times. So just look into that, and maybe find out when that approval was. I know the approval by the planning commission was on 11/15/2021, but that was for site plan only, not for the actual project. So just out of curiosity, I'd like to have that date. So, but otherwise, it seems to be a great project. So let's see what happens. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Tim, go ahead. Tim, are you there? Last call, Tim. AD, go ahead while we wait for Tim.
Thanks for letting me chat. I am super excited about the bike park. I feel like we don't really know a whole lot about it. So I look forward to getting more information. But I think it's going to do great things for Blue Lake. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Tim, you want to give one more shot, or you made some mistake?
Looks like he lowered his hand.
All right. bring it back to council, or excuse me, public one more time. Yes, go ahead.
So I'm excited about it too. My two concerns were who's gonna maintain it after it's built? Is that the responsibility of the city? And I asked at a public safety commission meeting about the insurance and it was very vague. So I would really like to know how we insure it for liability and what those costs would be. So those are two concerns that I have and how we're gonna, now somebody said it's gonna be $300,000 to finish it.
That's what the projections were for RCMBA last time when we heard from them.
So it went from 50,000 to 300,000. And they're raising the funds for it.
We don't know where the money's coming from, and people are wondering. So,
Okay.
any other further public comment? All right, bringing it back to council for discussion, if any.
I really like the idea. We need to figure out some things. So I'm feeling like maybe possibly forming either an ad hoc or some kind of a project committee to look into where do we go from here, contact information, and seeing what needs, just kind of getting things laid out exactly. And so rumors and information from this person and that person, which, it's like telephone game. We just need to make sure that we're getting the accurate information.
Well, the 300,000 was from
Okay.
RCMBA, just so you're aware.
Okay, that's fine. I guess I would just need to see like, a piece of paper and that information or some more details, but, and then, yeah, I'm for doing something like that. So if anybody's,
I would support something like that because certainly we need to do some investigating. We need to get a lot of information on paper. We need to be able to reach out to the various entities to get that information.
Right.
And bring that back to the council and hopefully do this in a timely manner.
Right.
So, the only way I know to get that done is to do an ad hoc committee to try to move things forward more quickly.
Go ahead. Sorry, I'll just finish.
We finished.
Unless we've got any more ideas. Go ahead.
Well, as Danny was saying, we can't become subject matter experts on everything. And, this isn't a kid's lemonade stand. It's a city government, no matter how tiny and small we are and how well we know each other, it's still a city government. And there are certain things that bind us in what we do and how we interact, how we collect money, how we account for money. And so I think an ad hoc committee would be great to begin discussion about concepts like, okay, the insurance aspect of it, or cost recovery, as in if we have this facility, are we going to charge for events? If so, how much are we going to charge for parking? And because there will be real impacts to the city when these events occur. But as far as, to have an outside entity collecting money for you and you have no idea what's happening. This isn't disparaging those who are collecting that money, but there has to be a mechanism to account for every dollar capture. For every dollar in cash that should be registered, that person should get a receipt that they can have for that it's tax deductible. They should identify whether those funds are restricted or unrestricted. Like, I want to give $500 for a bench. Great. That money can only go to purchase a bench. And that's just how we would track the cash coming in or the checks coming in. How do we track for materials that are coming in and for the staff time that is going in? So that's just one side of the equation. Then when that money should get here, who's determining how much of the money that's collected would come to the city and when? And then when that money is dispersed, how are we tracking those invoices? And then more importantly, and I see this as like one of the main functions of city council is there has to be a path for all of this to occur to begin with. So, we had plans online that are not reflective of what we have out there. What we have is really cool because the people are jumping way up in the air. It's fantastic. This isn't a conversation about killing the bike park. It is not. It is about accountability throughout the process, and it is about if there are donations from an outside entity, all of those have to be accounted for. When those funds are dispersed, they have to reflect real expenses incurred by the city. And so we have to provide that information to the public. You guys should want to know this. And the only way that I can see that, it's not for us necessarily to do an ad hoc to do that, but we have, is it Jackson and Eklund? They do our auditing. Perhaps they could direct us to an entity that could do that, that could set that up. That could already research what has been donated, how that has spent. And we also need to know how much more do we have to go? Because it seems like it's this open-ended equation. As a whole, that money keeps going into. It's fantastic, the product that we're getting. But as a city, you can't fund a $300,000 bike park on our budget and do it as discretionary funds. So I'm really concerned about how those funds are collected, how long do they sit, who determines when they're released, who then, what determines who gets paid for what. And at this point, if there's anything outstanding, the city needs to know, and we have to have documentation for that.
I've asked for invoices to be submitted to the city manager's email. I have not yet seen any. As far as how we track things, our processes remain the same. We track every dollar spent on the bike park through project code tracking. That's how we track everything we spend money on. That's why you have a budget that's as detailed as it is, because we do track to that level. However, I cannot track for a nonprofit how they handle their things. And if you would like to hire a forensic auditor to go through what they have done, that would be on the city's dime, and I'm gonna tell you right now, we can't afford it.
And what I am saying is a memorandum of understanding, and that on their side as a nonprofit, they also have restrictions on how they can.
Yes, they
how
are.
can
They're bound to
fundraise.
their 501c4 charter.
But for us just to say, how comfortable is that for a city to say, okay, Joe, fundraise for us. And then at some point, Joe gives us some amount of money. They are fundraising in the name of the city of Blue Lake. And we don't know how much is raised, when it was raised, what it might have been designated for, and who made that fundraiser. Sometimes we will, sometimes we won't. But the city can require that transparency of those who are doing that fundraising, and we should by way of a memorandum of understanding. Now, whether you want to call it, full forensic accounting and scare us off from that price, I don't think that it's up to us as council members to try to crawl through every single donation. But at this point, our partners with our CMBA, I would hope are going to come forward with all of that information so that we can have an understanding, that we can work together and understand when money comes in, how it should be spent, what we have spent it on, what do we have left to go. And that's one of the big questions.
Yeah, definitely questions. More questions than answers.
Further discussion?
I'd recommend that we form an ad hoc to do some investigating and bring this back for recommendations for further consultation if requested or required.
Sounds like a plan. We would like to be on an ad hoc. I'll be on it.
Let's do it.
Me and Michelle?
Yeah.
All right. Is everyone cool with that?
Mhm.
All right.
So you'll come to our next meeting with some some sort of information
Yep.
coming together.
Yep.
Okay.
And some requests for recommendations after that.
Okay.
Okay. So I would just like to say, because I think it's really unfortunate this last month has been so fraught with misinformation
Yeah.
and assumptions and conjecture. And I know that the bike park's just one of those pieces. Earlier tonight, we heard a list of all the wrongdoing that has supposedly transpired.
Let's not make it too political. If that's okay. Let's
Okay.
stick with the bike
I'm
park.
just saying, I just want people to understand that, the council is aware of the concerns and I think if we could make information available, we would, but we're doing our jobs. We're following legal advice. and we're doing the best we can. And, and we hope people will understand, this isn't about, ending the bike park. We're obviously not going to end the bike park. The bike park's mostly there. It's about figuring all of this out, which I hope people can understand from this discussion. We have a lot to figure out. We have a lot to plan for. We have a lot to understand, and we have to do that before we can go forward. So anyway, I just hope that the community will, try to understand some of these complexities and afford us the time to get through it.
Thank you, Elise. All right. Any further discussion from the public on the ad hoc? We just formed without getting more input from you guys. Yes, go ahead, Barbara.
So does your ad hoc take in like willing helpers or some kind of thing? Because if we've got volunteers, I think.
Oh, there will be.
Good, right on.
conversations for sure.
That's what
No, yes, absolutely, 100%.
All right. There's one public comment. Go ahead.
Hey guys, it's Julie Christie. I'm sorry if my audio's bad. I'm out of the county tonight. I really support the ad hoc, but I'd also like you guys to maybe appoint two council members this evening who will be on the ad hoc. And I definitely support it and everything Elise just said 100%. And Kat as well. Thank you.
Thanks. We did. All right. Any further public comment? Moving on to future.
Just do one comment.
Sure.
I appreciate that there's the formation of ad hoc. And then I assume that those reports will come back at the next regular scheduled council meeting.
Yep.
In the interim, it sounds like there are still activities being planned for the bike park, and there is no memorandum of understanding existing in the meantime. Would council agree it might be behoovous to direct staff to perhaps come up with terms of a memorandum of understanding on the use of the bike park?
I don't think this. I don't think we can right now because this wasn't an action item. I think this is just a discussion item. But I mean,
Well, you bring up a good point. There's been conversation about an event where the park's going to be open for riding. I personally am not comfortable with anything like that until we have in writing from our insurance carrier what we're covered for and what we can do.
Yeah, we have that already in writing from our insurance carrier, and Emily is our CIRA representative, our risk management representative. So she's been briefed with the risk management authority on what it is that is expected of us.
we do have that already.
Yes.
Can we see it?
I don't have
I
it in
mean-
front of
I
me,
mean,
but
look-
yes, I mean, yeah, you can see whatever
Sorry, I
you
was
want
hoping to get
see,
stuff
but-
like that for this item. I apologize.
Yeah, no, like I said, this particular facility runs under Parks and Rec, and this event's under your Director of Parks and Rec's purview.
Okay. Thank you.
So is there an event planned, and
There's
when
an
is
event planned, and as far as I understand, it is a film showing of the mountain bike movie.
That happened Saturday night.
Then that's the only event I am aware of that we had planned.
There may be
They're removing the tarps the end of this month.
the Saturday, the trucks are coming off.
It was just made public. A statement was made publicly today by someone that said like it was okay to go in there, and
It's not. That
I know, but there was a statement made by someone.
here?
It's on social, there's discussion on social media,
No,
and
it's not open, and I mean, there could be a pop-up this summer. They're talking about, you were at that meeting, John? And the 12th,
So someone else associated with the city made a comment that it was okay to go in there and
oh no.
move around. So
So when we're saying they're moving the tarps, who is moving the tarp?
Volunteers.
With
Parks and Rec, is it Parks and Rec?
so the current,
That's the Parks and Rec meeting.
the current status of the bike park as we know it is
It's
that
not complete.
it's not complete, it's not rideable, we're not allowing anybody in there to ride. If people are in there riding, they're there without permission.
There's signs that say no trespassing.
Sounds good.
thank you, Ingrid. Appreciate it.
It seems like commissions should communicate with you guys better.
I'm not a commission.
Oh, okay. Well, then commissions, see if Ingrid's doing it.
We'll work on that in the future for sure. We'll make sure our lines of communication are open and flowing. Thank Thank you. All right, moving on to future agenda items. Do we have any future agenda items?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I'd like to see Eric Heller Heckman from the Humboldt Waste Management Authority. And he is interested in meeting the acting city manager. But he is the director for the Humboldt Waste Management Authority, and he is prepared to present description of where we're at with waste management. And I would like to see that on the June meeting.
So
About 20 minutes.
I think it's fair to say we're going to be having at least 2 meetings in June,
Yeah.
maybe a third.
For sure.
Okay, so are you maybe he could come to an earlier meeting, not the later, or vice versa? I don't know.
Well, I
Do
mean,
we
I
have a
think
preference?
his schedule is pretty flexible, and I could certainly check with that with
Okay.
him about that. But I'm anticipating special meetings rather than scheduled meetings, unless we're using our second Tuesday for that second meeting, in which I am not going to be present for that one. If we're going to be doing anything in the middle of June, I'm just going to say that.
You're not available the second Tuesday.
No, I'm in another area.
Okay.
Oh,
So
I'm lying. I will be available. Sorry, I was thinking it was more in the teens. I will be available if we need to have a meeting on the second.
So I think we can safely say we're going to have a meeting on the second and the fourth Tuesdays of June, and quite possibly another meeting somewhere in there, a special meeting that who knows. So I had a conversation today with Regina Fuller at the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office, and we are currently not. We don't have a signed contract to go forward with law enforcement after the end of June. So we need to get that prioritized and done. And I think we already authorized it.
If
and
you
I'm-
already authorized it, then I can just send it.
Well,
signed.
we authorized it pending
Oh, I haven't heard
review
back
from Sierra.
Yeah, I haven't heard back from them yet. I'll follow up with Sarah.
But and when did you reach out to them? Recently or?
Like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So my understanding from Regina Fuller is that last year conversation was had with all the parties, county council on the county side and Sierra on our side, and the language was agreed to. The language is the same as it was for the last contract. And so, one way or another, we need to get that figured out, signed, and get that over to them.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to push that through quickly. And also, I had inquired about animal control services,
Yes.
and I got a price back for animal control enforcement of $9,597 a year. So I want to bring that to the council. We haven't officially had a conversation about that, but I'd like to bring that to our very next meeting, and so we can make a decision as to whether or not we want to go forward with that.
Okay.
And what else do I? And our next meeting should have an opportunity for commission appointments. There's the Economic Development Commission, and I don't know if we have any Arts and Heritage applicants, but I know we have at least 2 Economic Development Commission applicants. So
Has anyone come forward for the Arts and Heritage, Danny, that you know of?
No.
I thought I brought one in.
We need to get a third
Aside from that one, I was like, aside from that one, no, not that I know of.
Actually, there's 2. Me and Cindy Phillips also.
Yeah.
I'll text her.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but that doesn't mean it
So
doesn't.
potential arts and heritage and potential economic development positions. I think arts and heritage has been open for the 30 days that's required. I don't know,
yeah, it has.
Great. So it'd be good to get that one going again.
Is there just one for the economic development?
I think there's only one spot left. I think we have 2 or
That's the one that opens on the 30th.
It should be open now. It really should have been on this
Yeah,
schedule.
it should have been on today, but we've just been slammed with the HCD letters and all the pressing things.
There will likely be another round of employee annual raises unless you would like to direct me to not bring that back to you.
We have to have an agenda item to tell you not to bring it back to us, though, right? Can't tell you to do that now.
Fair enough. Uh,
Just doing it, just not trying to hold it up. Just want to do it the right way.
Yeah, so, and then there's probably gonna be one or two contracts that we'll need to review, just to get approval to sign, and then, as far as I know, sorry, total mind blank, the best project.
Yes.
That
And
is
what about it?
something that needs to be addressed,
Have we heard from Power Transition?
yes,
And when was that?
that was this past week.
Could you get us? I mean,
So,
I mean, they came into the office and said, "Hey, what's cracking?" And I said, "Agenda." And then, so that's pretty much it. That was
So-
the conversation. They're like, when can we get on the agenda?"
they
And
physically came into the office.
yes.
And did they also communicate with Ryan?
I don't think we can have discussions on this.
I don't think we're supposed to be
We
discussing.
can't discuss it until.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be a
So,
future agenda item.
Yes.
so you
future
and
agenda.
I are an ad hoc committee to talk about Power Transition. So we need to have a meeting with Danny and talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, if
Anytime,
there's-
anytime there's something like that going on, you're able to talk to us about it.
Cool.
So that we can be in that loop and be starting to figure out if it's going to go on an agenda or when it's going to go on or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything else.
Anything else, Kat? I want to wrap this up.
I think y'all pretty much got it.
All right.
It'll come to me after we.
Right. And I think we can
Sure.
bring items in the future too. Anything from the public? Anyone want to bring any future agenda items forward? Kitman, go ahead.
I just want to encourage you again to put the power transition project on the agenda. It's a critically important thing for the city of Blue Lake, and you guys need to start talking about it very regularly and seriously.
We just did put that on there.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I must have missed that.
Thanks, Kat.
In the audio.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Thank you very
Yes, Barbara, go ahead.
How about, you guys, are you getting together so you can maintain the power plant site, start being able to maybe have volunteers start helping clean it up?
Michelle and I are on an ad hoc committee to look into that.
Yeah.
Cause I want to start cleaning it up. I want to get my shovel, my wheelbarrow, get a dumpster and just start cleaning it up.
We'll have to get an MOU from you. That's a joke.
Right.
What's that?
I said we'll have to get an MOU from you. It's a joke, but yeah. Tim, I saw you clap your hands, but I'm not sure if that was just clapping hands or if that was a raising of the hands. Maybe it was just clapping. All right.
So I feel like we're probably forgetting at least a half a dozen things.
Yeah.
We can.
Right.
I mean, obviously the budget's gonna go on.
Right.
Budget.
So,
Yeah.
you know, and the other perfunctory things that you normally have on your agenda.
It's gonna be really silly. It's gonna sound.
Do you want to come
silly.
up to the mic so it gets recorded for us?
So if you go to a big corporate PG&E thing, right, we do 30 for 30, means every 30 minutes you stand up and stretch.
Mhm.
So you guys should put like a break in there.
Right.
That, like
Thank you.
agenda number 7, like
Thank you.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, walk around, get the blood flowing.
Love it.
All right.
I'm
Thank
here
you.
for that.
Song, everybody can dance.
Every 30 minutes, get up and move for 3.
Can we get a motion
Yes.
to adjourn if we're
I-
ready?
I do have a question on the agenda
Sure.
on how I can get a hard copy packet and a response to request for hard copy.
Yes,
Copy packet.
sorry, we had last minute approval of the agenda and then we left for a holiday weekend, so I didn't see your email till today in the swamp of all of the emails. In the future, I would like to not be putting the pocket out at 6 p.m. on Friday night. So that should be an accommodatable request under normal circumstances.
Well, and it's known to city staff, this is a requirement for me to be able to have that hard copy, and it's, like I said, I just spent $500 on toner cartridges. I am not printing out any more city stuff.
I
You could talk about-
don't blame
Yeah.
you. I don't blame.
But if there's, I guess I'm a little concerned, and I want to make sure that there's a good path for communication, even if it's a single council member with a request.
I also want it printed. I don't have a printer and I don't have a book to bring to these meetings, so I want it printed.
Okay.
Time agenda related.
And they used to get delivered,
Yeah,
I
I
work
don't
on
have
I
staff
work
to
on a
co-
Friday, so
accommodate
I can't come and get it before you close. But we can figure out a way
We're gonna
to
have to
physically
figure-
get them to us so that we're not
Yes.
waiting until Tuesday night to see the
The
see the
physical
packet.
packet. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I'm happy
Um,
to accommodate that in any way I can. Again, looking forward to not having the agenda come out after staff have already
So-
gone home for the weekend.
So back in January, a process for setting the agenda was proposed with a
Mhm.
timeline to where we had everything all dialed in early in the week.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go ahead and send that to you again.
Mm-hmm.
And we can talk about trying to get things organized and timely and, not having to do any rush jobs on Friday afternoons.
The future agenda item, I don't think we're gonna have.
Would you like to agendize this as an agenda item?
Well, we could, or we could just do it.
Why don't you just do
It's
it?
just a process.
Okay,
thing.
I know, I'm
It's
I'm
just
saying as in
process.
the interest of
Oh.
sticking to the agenda topic at hand.
Well, I don't think
Council.
any of us wants to be hashing out agenda stuff on a Friday afternoon, so. Anyway,
Motion to adjourn.
No, next.
Next one. Sorry. Oh, council correspondence. I'm sorry. Do you have any council correspondence? Do we have any?
I think we received a few things.
Yeah, what that was
And-
sitting at your spot when you sat down, those are the public comments and correspondences that we received, and then you guys got new ones.
Our new-
tonight.
our new
And then, yeah.
So,
Good
uh,
thing. That's like reading.
them be the
So-
correspondences.
Comment on the correspondence, unless there's a different path that is coming through, but it's usually, I think, the mayor's decision on whether correspondence provided to council was read in public or just provided and
Oh,
then a
I'm
copy.
terribly sorry.
That's okay. So next time, just I guess we'll check in.
Yeah.
What is,
Apologies.
no, it's okay.
Yeah.
What is, I don't know what it is. I'm just going based upon what I've been told, so.
Yeah, I mean, because usually when we've been receiving letters, we accept them, they can be included in like future reference documents, but there's not necessarily that carving out the time to read the letters.
Okay.
So,
I
Not-
appreciate that feedback.
not an
Yeah,
admonishment, how
not,
did you know?
yeah, not a big deal.
And
our
then, I mean, if I could just say, in general, I feel like public correspondence is very valuable information, can be included in the packets. If it comes in, however, if there's any disparaging, shaming, condescending tone to any of it, it feels a little bit rough to read it, but including it in it. No, I'm not for you. I'm just saying, that's just my opinion, because I don't think we have a process that's been completely figured out, because I think it's dependent on
Yeah,
the mayor.
the folks that submitted that one
And-
asked for it to be read.
No, absolutely, 100%.
See, they can ask for it to be read out loud, but the chair is the one that decides if it gets read.
So, yeah, anyway, but I mean, I think it's all for public record for sure.
Yes, go ahead.
So if the public comment is received in time to go out in the packet, that's great. If it's not, it's received later, an option could be to include it in the minutes.
Okay. And
Yeah,
it
and I
says-
think we need to check with our attorney as to whether or not we have to include correspondence in the agenda packet.
And it says public input can't be given to the council by emailing city clerk at until 4:30 p.m. on the date of the meeting. And that seems harsh. That seems a little cutting it really close to
It's
the
a
meeting
requirement.
time.
It's
I mean, can
required
we-
by the Brown Act.
And, oh, so it has to be like 2 hours before the meeting?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Just 2
Yeah.
hours? I mean, sometimes it's not gonna make it to the meeting though, and let's be
Well-
honest, right?
Well, we're
Like-
not gonna have time to read it, but that's okay.
Yeah,
They can
okay.
deliver it.
It's their right to deliver it. It's however you choose
Sure.
to handle it
I-
after you've received it is,
that's
yeah,
not-
is
sure
kind
we're
of
gonna be able to
yeah.
address
Think of the
it if
ordinance also states that they have to provide, I think, up to 10 copies or something, if it's coming in that late, because you guys could necessarily stop everything and make copies.
Yeah.
But if it can present, it has to be available for the public.
They're supposed to provide some amount of copies. I don't know if it's 10, but
Okay.
there's,
Yeah.
some kind of amount of copies they're supposed to
Lori's got some
provide.
feedback about it.
But, anyway.
All right.
All righty.
Check it for you.
Yeah, Lori, go ahead. I don't think they can comment on
On
correspondence.
public comment?
Yeah, they can't
On
comment.
correspondence.
They can't comment on correspondence, which I mean, I don't know why, but yeah, I just learned. Hey, you didn't remember that? Jeez. All right. Sorry, Lori, here. You are fine.
Nope, no problem.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Uh-huh.
Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Is that it? Yeah.
I guess so.
So,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
any public comment on adjourning? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Hey, look at that.
Thank you.